Well, at this time of worry and concern, your little ones can pick up on emotions and overhear conversations that they may not understand, but that will cause some worry. Well, child development expert Ollwyn Moran is here with some advice on keeping children calm at home, because I know we're worried. You're trying not to let that feed into any of their little concerns. It's
Absolutely.
really tricky.
It's very hard. And as we know, and we're always saying, you know, even when you're trying to get a baby to sleep as normal, like if you're a little bit anxious, they feed off on that. So with everything that's happening, it is 100% understandable. It's nobody's fault at all within the home, but they will be picking up on things. They might overhear some kind of bits in conversation that they don't fully understand, and that might make them worry. And, you know, kind of big emotions like that, little ones find it very difficult to self-regulate. And so
in terms of self-regulation, how are things like balloons that you've brought in today going to help us?
Yes. So we thought we'd pick a few little activities that you could do at home with your little ones, because what they will do is they will give them some sensory input. So, but in a nice kind of manner that they can actually use themselves. So that something like the balloons here, they'll be, you know, kind of, this is balloon volleyball, which means that they need to have a little bit of patience. They need to have a little bit of focus to wait for the balloon. So if they're tipping it back and forward.
Give us a go then. We can try this from our social distance.
I've already popped a couple of these outside today, so my first.
So in terms of a child who doesn't have good self-regulation, how does that manifest itself?
So what we might see is, and as you can see, it does require concentration. And there's a good bit of movement. So for kids who, you know, when they love going out to the playground, and they have the swings and all those activities and things, now they can't do that. So it's things like this will really help. So in terms of what to look out for, they might have changed their sleeping patterns. Their eating might go off. They might really stick to stuff that's very easy to eat and that doesn't require a lot, that's not very tasty, because actually when your system is overloaded, food and eating can be one of the things, because food needs all 8 of the sensory systems to work together in order for eating to happen. So if they're feeling overwhelmed and overloaded, that is often a sign.
I see that from experience. That makes loads of sense, Ollwyn.
Yeah. See?
Very interesting.
Their tantrums might be more frequent. Their tantrums might be longer and much more exaggerated. They may isolate themselves and withdraw, where they kind of, you know, they just have too many big things going on, and they just, you know, the last thing they want is some additional sensory stimulation. So
what's the next thing you've got for us there?
So the balloon volleyball has them at different heights, different movements, giving them vestibular proprioceptive input, which is really, really good, and it's what they kind of need at that time. And again, it's something, you know, I know every household in Ireland pretty much has a pack of balloons somewhere. So then masking tape. Check your local hardware store or your shed. Masking tape, and then kind of like a ball, or, you know, slightly weighted. So this here is a slightly weighted kind of ball. And just get them to actually, you know, try and roll it and keep it between the lines. And that in itself is a challenge.
Right.
They can try and roll it on the lines themselves, and then you can get them to walk the line, so heel to toe, heel to toe. So again, they can see the start and the end point. Now obviously if you've maybe got like space in your kitchen or your hallway, make it a nice long one if you want, and you can really kind of like extend these out and have great fun with them all together. But yeah, so that kind of heel to toe activity, you can get them to jump from one side of the line to the other. So again, you're giving them that kind of movement up, down, that sensory, that vestibular and proprioceptive input, which is really important.
And will this ultimately calm a child who is struggling?
Absolutely, yes. It will help the system to regulate itself. So it kind of will bring them back down into that green zone, which is for like pleasurable operating, where they can actually then kind of start to communicate with others and just really kind of be part of.
I want to get onto this display that you've brought in as well, Ollwyn. What's this here?
So this is, again, another little kind of obstacle course, and again, very visual for them. So that's something as well, that they're not overwhelmed. Also, I meant to say that if you feel that your little one is having a struggle with their kind of self-regulating, I would suggest maybe turn off the TVs. Because they don't need that extra. And even if the sound isn't on, just to have like something blank and give them a little activity like this. So it doesn't, none of this requires a huge amount. It's not a real complicated fine motor task, but actually it gives them that little bit of movement, will help to burn off kind of activities.
So with this one?
With this one, it's just a very short example of a little sensory obstacle course, and ideally, kind of, if you try to get your little one doing bear crawls or frog hops and things like that. So we've got frogs in here, we've got feet, we've got hands, we've got little cups that you would have in your home. You can use cushions, pillows, toys, all that sort of stuff, cans even. So get them to maybe jump into their hula hoop and then pull it up around themselves, put it back down again, and then they have to hop where they see the feet, and then, you know, imagine this is extended out, and then they're over here, they see the frog, they have to do the frog hop, so they're like ribbit, and then they try and land with their hands down here, and you can continue on and you can repeat it or you can just vary it, and all of that movement is up, down, different levels. Very visual. They don't have any decisions that they have to actually make. So, you know, there's no additional kind of challenges, let's say,
it's a great idea. And even the making of this, they will enjoy and get them off the screens, which I know is a danger. We're going to become reliant on them. Ollwyn, thank you so much for running us through that.
No worries.
Boys, what's going on with you guys?